Hi friends, till now we have seen and tried to understand electrostatics from the angle of electric charge and also from the angle of electric field. Now we shall try to understand the electrostatics concept from the angle of yet another approach known as potential and flux. But before going to understanding electrostatic potential and electrostatic flux, let us recollect few basics as an introduction. So if you see the earlier lectures, we tried to understand the concept of electric field. The concept of electric field is being understood as due to a point charge and also due to some distributed charges. Means both discrete as well as continuous charges, how it will affect, that is what we have seen. What is to be remembered here is this electric field is represented in terms of vector quantity. We are writing as E bar. We are calling as field intensity. So we try to understand electric field from a vector angle. But one thing you have to understand, this electric field we are talking about, an electric field intensity we are talking about, it can also be represented in terms of a scalar quantity also. So we are only looking at a vector approach. Now this particular concept helps us to understand that electric field and electric field intensity can also be understood from scalar terms also. So why we have to, because if you try to learn electric field approach in terms of scalar quantity, it has great practical value. More applications can be understood if we try to understand the scalar approach. So if I want to use the word potential, potential is a characteristic possessed by almost all the bodies. So if you want to know the potential of a body, we need to understand what it represents. The potential of a body represents, simply speaking, degree of electrification of the body. How much of electrification took place in that body can be measured and can be given a name called potential. To demonstrate the concept of potential, I'll just give you a small level of understanding. We need to recollect from lower classes. For example, let us say there is a position called A. There are a certain number of electrons here. At another distance, let us say another point is there. Here also electrons are there, distributed. Let us suppose like that. Now interestingly, if you see both of them, irrespective of the distance of separation, at this position we say there are less number of electrons, right? Naturally here there are more number of electrons. When we say less number of electrons, less negative charge, you can say. Here, more negative charge. Also, we can say that when you say less negative charge, that means it is more positive. Here, more negative charge means it is less positive. Understood? I am taking 2 points. representing few electrons distributed across the 2 points. Suppose the distribution looks like this. The diagram tells us that there are less number of electrons here, there are more number of electrons here. Less number of electrons means less negative charge, more number of electrons means more negative charge. Less negative charge means opposite more positive, more negative charge means less positive. Now the potential, the word we are using, it talks about positive charge. So more positive means more potential. Less positive means less potential. Got the point? So the positive charge here represents the potential concept. So here, because there is more positive, that means it is high potential. This is low potential. So therefore, in the diagram we can say it has got high potential. This has got low potential. Now when you connect these two, let us say by means of a conductor, naturally what happens as a natural law of equality or equilibrium, because there are less number of electrons here and because there are more number of electrons here, few electrons from here tries to drift to this side. So transfer of electron takes place from B to A until there is some equilibrium of charges. So therefore, this is how electrons will flow, right? But actually current flows from high potential to low potential. So water comes from top to bottom naturally. If you want to send water from bottom to top, you have to apply external force by means of using some pump or machine or motor, etc. So it's quite natural. So the flow always takes from high potential to low potential. But actual drift of electrons is conventionally opposite to that of it. So electrons are flowing from more number of electrons to less number of electrons, whereas the current flow is from high potential to low potential. That means there is some potential difference. Got the point? Unless there is a difference of potential, flow cannot take place. So this potential difference is what we are calling as voltage. Voltage is nothing but potential difference, which is represented as V or U. These are the symbols. So the basic thing you have, this is what the basic thing you have to recollect from your lower levels of understanding, which we will apply here. So that means this is what we are seeing from the previous example, that current flows from high potential to low potential, and therefore there exists some potential difference which we call as voltage. And also I give a brief understanding potential of a body as degree of electrification of a body. So this potential, what basically it gives is, it helps us to determine the direction of flow of charge between two charged bodies placed in contact with each other. This is important. So potential helps us to understand the flow of charge between the two charges, charged bodies which are in contact with each other. Now already we have seen, we are using the Coulomb's law. Now Coulomb's law is helping us to calculate the electric field intensity. Now in potential we will try to understand alternately something what is known as Gauss law. So far we have seen Coulomb's law. In potential we will come across another law as an alternate law. So this particular Gauss law, it will help us to find solution. That is what I have been saying, addresses more complicated problems in electricity. Coulomb's law will help us to solve some problems, but Coulomb's law alone will not be sufficient. So therefore, by understanding potential, where we come across another concept called Gauss law, instead of this we use something called Gauss law. Using Gauss law, we can address some of the problems in complicated problems in electricity. Okay, so this is the basic introduction about electrostatic potential. Now we'll go to understand furthermore about electrostatic potential energy. What is electrostatic potential energy? We know if you take a gravitational field, the potential energy is coming because of mass. You are calculating as mgh. So similarly, we can define potential energy of a charge. In the gravitational field, it is potential energy with respect to mass. If it is electrostatic field, we talk about potential energy related to charge. So we will take a two-dimensional diagram to explain this concept. So let us take a two-dimensional plane. Intentionally I kept gap here because I am assuming that I am placing a source charge here at the origin, at O. Now at a distance, I am bringing a test charge. So I am trying to bring this charge towards this. In this direction. Because of this positive charge, this test charge will be experiencing a repulsive force. So what I am assuming here is I am trying to find electric field is due to charge plus Q placed at the origin. Step 1. Now we are building theory on this. Small test charge, let us say plus Q, is brought from here, brought from a point A to another point B. In this direction we are coming. The influence of this charge is in this direction. So you are trying to work against the repulsive force. So point B against repulsive force on it due to this source charge. Understood or not? What does this mean? We kept a source charge here and we are trying to bring a test charge from one position to other position towards the source charge. Source charge will have a repulsive force against. So you are doing some work against the gravity. Against the repulsive force you are working. Now you also, Q or Q naught, whatever you may call, we have to understand that just like this source charge having some influence, this small test charge also will have some influence. So we shall assume that the test charge is so small that it will not disturb this charge. So that is the assumption we have to note here. Assume that the test charge you are taking, Q naught, is so small that it does not disturb the original configuration. Charge distribution configuration means configuration of source charge plus Q, which is at the origin. This is the important assumption we are making. What is this assumption? Basically, just like how this particular source charge has got ability to modify the surroundings to have its influence, similarly here also the test charge can do the same thing, but the size and the charge magnitude is taken so small that we are assuming that this test charge, even though it is being brought nearby, does not influence the source charge of the origin. That means source charge is not affected by test charge, but test charge is affected by source charge. That is what is the idea of this assumption written here as note. Okay? And also assume that external force we always represent like this. External force is applied and it is just enough to counter the repulsive force. This is the repulsive force on the test charge Q0. What does it mean? We are trying to bring to the sea. Already this source charge is putting some electric force on this. And when we are trying to bring this test charge nearby, this test charge will be experiencing repulsive force due to this. To counter that, we are applying some external force while we are trying to bring this test charge near the source charge. So this external force we are applying tries to counter the repulsive force of the source charge. That is what is the meaning of this assumption. We are assuming that we are applying an external force, and the external force is applied to such an extent that it is just enough for that charge to counter the repulsive force. So there are two forces therefore. One is the force exerted by the source charge on the test charge, and the other is the force, external force you are applying to counter the source force. So therefore, if you take the net force on the test charge is zero, because we are applying external force here to counter the repulsive force here. Both are equal in magnitude and opposite direction. It is just enough means that. So therefore, the net force on this test charge is zero, and the work when there is net force zero means the body tries to move from A to B. When the problem is when we are trying to move it, only repulsive force being experienced. No? So to counter that, we applied an external force. So that applied external force has countered and nullified the repulsive force. Therefore, the motion of the charge can be free now. There are no external forces or internal forces. So body can move from A to B. So that is what we are trying to represent here. So that means it moves from A to B without any acceleration. This is important. You are not applying force. When you are not applying, already your applied force is negated. Therefore, there is no extra thing. Therefore, when there is no external additional thing, naturally there is no acceleration. Normally it moves from A to B. That is what it means by writing here. It moves from A to B without any acceleration. Right? So, we are applying external force, trying to move the body means there is some work done. Huh? So, it means work done by this external force is negative. Negative of what? Negative of work done by the field force. That's why the both are getting cancelled. Have you got this point? Work done by external force is negative of work done by electric field. That means both are acting in opposite direction. So therefore, where this work has gone, have you done some work or not? Yes, we have done some work. Is the work appearing now? No. Work is nothing but energy. Where this energy has gone? This means it should get fully stored somewhere in the charge Q in the form of potential energy. Now, this is a little bit a typical statement to understand. I'll just give you one example. Take a slant road. So, when you try to throw a road roller, it easily moves because of the height difference. So, when you are trying to climb, push the roller up in a slant surface against the wall, against the gravity. So many people are trying to push it. You can't move. Have you applied force or not? Yes. Is the roller moving? No. That means F is there, S is not there. What is S? S means displacement. Even though so many people are trying to push a road roller with a lot of force, road roller is not moving. Road roller is not moving means, in physics terminology, S, that is capital S means displacement is zero, but F is there. But what is work? F into S. When S is zero, though F is there, W equal to 0. So work done is 0. Though you applied the force, work done is 0. Where the entire effort has gone? The entire effort has gone and stored in the form of potential energy of the road roller. Have you understood the example or not? Similarly, here, the work done by the external force is negated by the electric force. So they both are getting cancelled. But where is the effect is being stored? So this entire effort or work done is fully stored in the form of potential energy inside the charge. So therefore, when you are moving from A and the charge coming to B, so on reaching point B, if the external force is removed, then this electric force will take the test charge away from the source charge. What is meant by this? I'll show you. See this diagram again? Here you are applying external force. Why we are applying external force? Because this particular source charge is exerting repulsive force in the opposite direction. To counter the repulsive force exerted by this source charge, you are applying just equivalent external force here. So both are equal and opposite gets negated. So there is no additional thing. Therefore, without acceleration, the body is moving. So when the body moves from A, automatically it comes to B. So with external force influence, it automatically comes to B. The moment you remove external force at B, still the body is repelled. That means the force of electric force will again repel this body to ensure that it goes away, because similar charge. Therefore, it goes away from the source. That is what happens. That is what is being described here. See the sentence. On reaching B, if the external force is removed, then the electric force you are applying will take the test charge away from the source charge. So where this work done has gone, I told that it is stored. The stored potential energy at B is used to provide kinetic energy to the charge Q in such a way that kinetic energy and potential energy sum at every point is conserved. Total energy always remains conserved. So when the body is at rest, it is stored as potential energy, we know. When it is moving, it is converted into kinetic energy. So the energy stored, body has come from A to B now. So therefore the potential energy stored at position B. Now that is used to provide the sufficient kinetic energy to the charge to move, such that wherever you take in the path, the sum of kinetic energy and potential energy is conserved. What does it mean? It means work done by this external force in moving the test charge from A to B is to be found. You have to calculate the total work. To move the charge from A to B, how much of work done that is being carried out by F external, we have to count. Work done in moving the body from A to B is nothing but, work is nothing but force into displacement. Na? So therefore, if you see the diagram, this distance is, let us say, small dr. From A to B it is dr. So force is there, distance is there. Force into distance gives us work done. So work done is nothing but F external is doing some work, the scalar product of this integral gives us, and this is actually equal to opposite of work done by this electric field. Have you understood this? That means you can as well say, or I will give you some hint here to understand this equation. What is work done? Force into distance only. So one force is external force, distance is dr. The opposite force is electric force, distance is dr. So these two are opposite. So whether it is F external into dr and Fe into dr, they are equal and opposite. Please remember. So both of them are stored as work done in moving the body from A to B. So that is what it means by saying work done in moving the body test charge from A to B. It is through external force, it is F external into dr, sum, which is opposite of, that's why we wrote minus here, opposite of this. So this work is done. Why we have written minus is very important. This work is done against external electric field and is stored as potential energy. Please remember that charge Q possesses certain amount of electrostatic potential energy at every point in the electric field. Again I am repeating. The charge Q you have taken, a test charge, possesses certain amount of electrostatic potential energy at every point in the electric field. Therefore, work done in moving the charge from A to B increases its potential energy by an amount equal to potential energy difference between the 2 points. Generally, potential energy is represented by the alphabet U. So you have potential energy at A, you have potential energy at B. So if you are calculating delta U, that is nothing but UB minus UA. This is the work done in moving the charge from A to B. So electrical potential energy difference between 2 points B and A, it is the minimum work required to be done by the external force in moving without any acceleration to bring the test charge from A position to another position. So with this background, we shall try to understand further. Hope you have understood what is the basic concept of potential energy in terms of electric charge. That is nothing but work done in moving the charge against the repulsive force. So this continuation we shall see in the next session.